All right, cool. I'm gonna start recording. All right, 3, 2. Dave Brackett season forges on here on Crossing State Lines. We've done all-time sports figures. We've done all-time comedies, and today we're doing all-time coaches, Dave. And I'm very excited to see where this goes because I feel like there's a lot of assumed victories, but there might be an upset here and there. So, what are you looking forward to here?
I'm looking forward to seeing which coaches move on with the 3-2 with the 2-1 majority, and also Levin's going to teach us a little something about hockey. So
that's true. That's a great segue into our guest for this bracket, Mr. Jake Levin. Jake, what's up?
I love how everyone just assumes I'm this massive hockey guy just because I know a little bit. I mean, I know compared to a lot of people, that's a lot, but I mean, I think I'm like a lot of people where the NFL and MLB are still my wheelhouse, and you know. I know hockey. Do I like hockey? Yes, of course. I love hockey. But I am not exactly Don Cherry over here. I'm not reinventing the game.
Probably a good thing you're not Don Cherry, considering Don Cherry.
Bad example.
Recent trajectory. You're not. Well, no, he's also a bad. He's also a bad example. Yeah, you're not. Okay, I can't think of anybody. Like, Gretzky, I don't know. That's my best option at this point. Barry Melrose. There we go.
That's a good one. Former Whalers coach. Yeah.
I went to Roenick and Milbury next. Like those are both really bad examples.
Think about these hockey people. It's all or nothing.
Fourth time is the charm. Okay, so the way this goes, Jake, we rapid fire the first round. Then we take a little bit more time as we get to like the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, yada yada yada. Okay. So you're our guest, Jake. What sport would you like to begin in?
Well, having said everything I just said, let's start with hockey. It's on the mind.
Thank God. Let's rip that Band-Aid off.
Get it over with.
So, Jake, it's a little different than when I sent you over for your advice because I realized we had one coach twice. So one of the guys that got cut ended up back here. So let's start off with the 116. The 1 seed Herb Brooks against the 16 seed Lindy Ruff. So if we're going by best name, it's Lindy Ruff. But literally everything else, it's Herb Brooks.
Yeah, no need to debate this one.
Yeah, Herb Brooks.
That's crazy. You're a big Lindy Ruff guy.
I will say, for at one point in time, Lindy Ruff, I believe, was the longest tenured coach other than Greg Popovich in the 4 major sports.
That sounds right.
With the Sabres, right?
With the Sabres, exactly, yeah.
With much, much less success.
Yeah, we've already talked a little too much about Lindy Ruff.
That's true. We've given him way too much airtime. All right, now we have the 8 and the 9. Pat Quinn against Jack Parker.
I'm a sucker for the college game.
What do you think?
Quinn's never won a Stanley Cup.
I would probably take Jack Parker here.
Yeah, me too. I'm going with Parker. I can't wait until I could say a little bit more about these coaches when I actually know them. All right, next up. 5 seed Scotty Bowman against the 12 seed Daryl Sutter. I know Daryl Sutter. He coached the Kings to a couple of Stanley Cups. I know him.
He did, but Scotty Bowman coached the Red Wings to a couple of cups, and those Red Wings teams had a little bit more staying power. Kings were not necessarily a fluke. They did win 2, but within those 2 years, they were pretty much – or 3 years. It wound up being 2 out of 3 years. They were pretty much done. Scotty Bowman – and the Red Wings were, in many ways, the Patriots or Spurs of the NHL for a while there. So it's Scotty Bowman. No need to.
Let's also and I don't want to take anything away from the Kings because they definitely earned those Stanley Cups, but they got a little lucky with getting the Devils that time because the Devils were a 6 seed, they were an 8 seed. So I mean, really, it was dumb luck, but they still won. Win's to win. It still goes up in the rafters. Dave, I assume it's a clean sweep.
Yeah, clean sweep. And like the Red Wings have had multiple different like generations of like winning hockey. Like I remember it's easy to forget, but like 08 to like 15 it was Penguins Red Wings like every year in the cup. It was crazy.
Yeah. Red Wings, check them out. Not so good anymore. All right, the 4 seed Jerry York against the 13 seed Ken Hitchcock. I know Ken Hitchcock, he used to coach the Blues if I'm not mistaken. Before they won the Stanley Cup, right? He wasn't their coach when they won it. I think it was Barry.
No, but Hitchcock did win a cup with the Stars, their 6th year in Dallas there in 99. It was a great team with Mike Modano, still had Darian Hatcher kicking around, Joe Neuendijk.
Already thrown around more names than I know. Already. So, I know Mike Modano. I know no one else you mentioned.
I'm not really a big BC guy. For as much as I used to be a BC basketball guy, I I've never cared much for BC hockey or, again, really BC anything. So I've got a little 13-4 upset here.
You know what? I'm for it. Dave, what do you say?
I'm Jerry York. I'm Team Jerry York. The consistency with which that program produces is just second to none.
Well, your vote means nothing. I was telling you.
It does.
All right,
It does mean nothing.
the 6'11", Robbie Ftorek against Barry Trotz. So this is tough. Barry Trotz has had a very good late run. I believe he won cups with the Capitals and the Blues, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because he left the Capitals
Just
after.
the Caps.
Just the Caps.
The
Yeah, just-
Blues won
Two
with
great last names.
Blues won with that idiot Craig Berube.
Oh yes, thank you. Not
Oh God.
but who's Barry Trotz with right now? I forget.
He's with the Islanders now.
Islanders. Thank you. Not the Blues. Not the Blues. The Islanders. My
Here's
bad.
the thing about Robbie Ftorek, though. I do think he won one of those cups with the Devils, but the Devils are kind of weird. They fired their coaches a couple times, despite having great records late in the regular season, on their way to not necessarily cup wins, but some cup runs. And I know one of those years it was Ftorek. It might have been 2003. They fired Ftorek, and they wound up winning the cup. And it's not like this was trying to think of an example. Say the Cavs firing what's his name and bringing in Tyronn Lue. Like those Cavs, they were struggling.
David Platt. Yeah.
Like the Devils were good.
Yeah.
And Robbie Ftorek, though, I do have to say this. At one point in time was the leading scorer in Mass high school hockey history. It's where my bread's buttered. I'm going Robbie
True.
Ftorek.
I'm going to go for Torek as well, though I do have to say it was interesting what happened with Barry Trotz, the parallel, because Barry Trotz won the cup with the Capitals and then was just like, yeah, I'm out. I'm good. I'll see you later. I'm going to go coach another team now. I didn't
It was
retire,
interesting. Yeah.
just left. He was like, great, I finally got that cup. Now I got that burden off my shoulders. Dave, we going clean sweep here?
Clean sweep. I'm not a big Barry Trotz guy, to be honest. I think he's an overrated coach.
Fine by me. Speaking of overrated coaches, the 14 seed Claude Julien against the 3 seed Jack Adams. Not really no discussion for me on this one. I've never liked Claude that much. Always thought he was kind of overrated. And the Coach of the Year award's named after Jack Adams. So yeah.
Well, yeah, you did. Look, this is Jack Adams. No problem. We don't need to debate that. But Claude the 14, and you're putting him up against the friggin' namesake of the Coach of the Year. You're doing Claude a little dirty here. He deserves
That's look, Levin. We don't make the bracket here. We just go through it. Okay. Except we do make it, but you get the idea. Yeah, I mean, Dave.
Is there a bigger like for hockey? I think hockey's the sport that recycles coaches more than any other sport. Like you have until the guys are basically literally in a retirement home, like age 85, they're coaching on the bench, and they just keep recycling. And there's no coach that's speaks more to that than Claude Julien. Gets fired from the
You
Bruins
said give
and
me
immediately goes to the Canadians in the same year.
Steve, I love it. I love the upset, and I'm sure Jake agrees. There's a little underrating going on, but Jack Adams is Jack Adams, man.
Yeah.
All right, the 7-10 Pat Burns against Jacques Lemaire.
This is interesting for me. Pat Burns is a late great. He was sort of unfairly chastised, I think, is the coach of some of those. I don't want to say underachieving, but the late era Ray Bourque teams there in the late 90s, where those teams, frankly, weren't really set up to succeed. You had a young Joe Thornton, young Sergei Samsonov, but Byron Dafoe was your goalie, and he was like a poor man's Tim Thomas. He sort of came out of the woodwork, had one or two good years. I think Pat Burns got the most out of the talent on those Bruins teams, despite the way it ended. And, of course, he's a former Quebec Nordique, so I'm going Pat Burns.
I'll go Burns, too. That's certainly a lot of names you said. Those are definitely names. I'll go Pat Burns. Dave?
I'm going to make it a clean sweep here. I'm going to go Pat Burns.
Yeah, that's right. All right, the final matchup. Speaking of coaches that I think are insanely overrated, the 15 seed Mike Babcock against the 2 seed Joel Quenneville. I've always liked Quenneville. I thought he was kind of a badass on that Blackhawks bench, and obviously he ripped out Bruins fans' hearts once. We don't need to really discuss that more. I think Babcock is immensely overrated. I think him going to the Maple Leafs just kind of showed how overrated he was. He couldn't do anything with that team. They clearly didn't like him. So easy Quenneville for me.
Well, Babcock is kind of like I think here, almost like Mike Tomlin, in that he won a championship early on in his tenure with the Red Wings with basically Scotty Bowman's teams, similar to, in a sense, how you could say Tomlin won with Bill Cowher's teams, or how John Gruden. Speaking, actually, you know what? Forget Mike Tomlin. Mike Babcock is the John Gruden of the NHL because Gruden wins early in Tampa with Tony Dungy's teams, and I know Dungy never won in Tampa. That's neither here nor there. Put it this way: Mike Babcock is a joke, and Joel Quenneville kind of looks like Asac Merkert from Breaking Bad, the one of Hank's bosses there.
Oh, yeah, he kind of does. You're right.
So for that reason alone, I'm going But I'd go anybody over Mike Babcock. He sucks.
Dave, clean sweep, I assume.
Yeah, I really dislike Mike Babcock. I think he's one of the most overrated hockey coaches, and he got literally nothing done in Toronto. So
I like to say nobody knows hockey better than Dave Albiani. So if he doesn't like you,
nobody that is a pet. My dog doesn't know hockey. That's the only one I beat. I don't beat anyone else.
I think we need. I'm going to butt in for a second. Steve asked, "Did Jake get a haircut?" The question, the answer is yes, I did.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
Hold on, baby.
Haircut a few weeks ago.
I weird. Went down to the barn and just zzz the head.
If
Anyway,
Steve wants to hop on, he can.
I would love to hear Steve's take on some of these for sure. But Steve will be Dave's thoughts on Milan Lucic. Dave,
I mean, I like him.
of course, who doesn't like Milan Lucic? He was the man.
I think he kind of in his heyday was a little too pumped up, and then he was also he was underrated by the time he was done because everyone was like hating on him so much. I think he's somewhere in the middle of both of those.
All right, let's move on to the next sport: Levin, football, basketball, baseball.
Let's go with football.
All right,
Free agents hot right now.
The 1 seed, Bill Belichick against the 16 seed, Urban Meyer. I will note Dave fought to get Urban Meyer on this bracket.
Good. I'm glad he did because I hate Urban Meyer. I think it's not that he's overrated as a tactician. I think you have to give credit where it's due to a guy that won at Utah, that won at Florida, that won at Ohio State. I give him credit where it's due there. But he's really everything that's wrong with college athletics. Those Florida teams. I'm not saying it's his fault Aaron Hernandez turned out the way he did. But you look at some of the other derelicts on that team. And then even just this past offseason with the Jaguars, when he tries to bring in that idiot Chris Doyle, the racist there from Iowa, just thinking Urban Meyer, he doesn't play by anybody else's rules, and he's the good old boy network will help his cronies. No, the hell with Urban Meyer. He sucks. And even if I'm a little out on Bill right now, come on.
Steve has this comment. He faked a heart attack to be the Buckeyes coach.
People forget that. People do forget that.
We'll throw a quick allegedly in there. Yeah, this isn't even a thought for me. I don't like Urban Meyer either, and Belichick is going to make a pretty deep run here in this bracket. So, yeah, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for Belichick here, but I felt like we need to throw him on there. I don't like him at all either, but 187-32 in his college coaching career. Yeah, is pretty damn impressive. The most losses he's had in a season was 4 with Florida in 2007. So, I mean, we're talking about a guy that's an elite recruiter, but it seems to be morally bankrupt along the line. So,
all right, the 8-9 matchup: Tom Landry and Bear Bryant.
This one's tough.
Tiebreaker goes to the Fedora.
That's true. I'm also leaning Bear Bryant. I mean, Tom Landry was the only coach in Cowboys history for like 3 decades, but
Tom Landry had the fedora. I guess Bear Bryant.
Oh, I'm sorry, they both have fedoras.
Yeah. Huh. Boy.
I was gonna say the first person that came to mind was Bear Bryant with fedora. We didn't even think about that, did we, Dave? We just both put them together without thinking of fedoras. But I'm actually gonna. Dave might have to be the tiebreaker. I'm gonna lean Bear Bryant. I mean, I think he, even with the guy that is seated ahead of him, he is one of the most influential college football coaches of all time. And Landry was obviously, the face of the Cowboys for like their entire existence up until Jerry Jones bought the team. But I'm gonna lean Bear Bryant here. I think
this is a good 8-9 matchup.
Yeah,
I like this one.
So Dave, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm gonna lean Bear Bryant here. I think it's a little harder to win in college to continuously get that program training, and I think that's the tiebreaker.
All right, the 5-12 matchup: Paul Brown and John Madden. All due respect to John Madden, great football, great video game franchise, great run with the Raiders, but I mean, when the NFL did their most influential people in the history of the game, Paul Brown, I believe, was number 1. And there's a reason for that. So I got to go with the higher seed here.
Yeah, but the video games, man, come on. How many hours did all of us spend playing Madden, either as kids or at the beginning of this pandemic? Because in my case, I was playing a lot of Madden 05. It's not like Madden was just some schmuck. He did win Super Bowl, I believe it was Super Bowl 10 with the Raiders. And then he carved out his niche as a broadcaster. He could have kept coaching, but he knew where his bread was buttered.
Look, this is fair. This is fair.
Yeah, maybe that takes him out of the running as an all-time great coach, but 12 could beat a 5. A little fun first-round matchup. Give me John.
Well, Dave, you're going to be the tiebreaker again, but Paul Brown is also the king of pettiness. So I think he also deserves an vote for that. But Dave, who's your tiebreaker here?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Paul Brown. I just think he's more of an accomplished coach overall. I mean, if we were doing overall package of life, John Madden wins because he's a broadcaster. He did a video game. He's in Family Guy. Like, he's famous. But
he's in. I believe he's in the pilot, like the first episode of Family Guy.
Yeah, I think he is.
All right, Paul Brown gets the tiebreaker there. Let's move on to one that's really going to be painful because I'll probably have to give it to the guy I don't like. But maybe I'll do a 4-13 upset. The 4-13, Don Shula and Joe Gibbs. So what Joe Gibbs has going for him is that he, correct me if I'm wrong, Levin, he was the coach for all 3 of those Washington Super Bowls, right? 3 different starting quarterbacks every time. Too.
Exactly.
There were 2 strike seasons in there, granted. But winning 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks is an incredible feat. And because Don Shula is probably the saltiest person on the face of the planet when it comes to the Patriots, I'm going to go with Joe Gibbs here. I'll probably be outvoted, but I'm going Joe Gibbs.
Dave, you go first.
Man, put me on the spot. I really don't like Don Shula, but I have to pick him. I just think I like Joe Gibbs a lot, and I think he was a very successful coach. It's really funny to think about the fact that he came back after he was a Hall of Famer and coached again, which is kind of hilarious. But I'm going to have to go Don Shula. I just think overall, as much as it pains me, he did such a great job with those Dolphins teams. I have to pick him, but I really don't like him.
All right, Jake.
But Don Shula never won with maybe the most naturally gifted quarterback of all
time,
Dan Marino.
That's true.
And while Gibbs, I get there were some strike seasons in there to win with 3 different quarterbacks. But I think the biggest thing for Gibbs is that when he came back to Washington, were they great teams? No, but they weren't a complete embarrassment like so many other Washington teams have been in the Dan Snyder era. Had them not relevant, but in the wild card round a few times, not even won a playoff game. Might be their most recent playoff win now that I think of it. Under Joe Gibbs. You're damn right. This is a spite vote, but I'm going Joe Gibbs.
I love it. 13 seeds are undefeated so far. All right, the 6-11 matchup. Let me pull it up here. Bill Walsh and Curly Lambeau. I guess
I can kick off if you want. I'm going to take Bill Walsh. I like Curly Lambeau a lot, and obviously his history is well known with the Packers, but Bill Walsh to me was an innovative coach and really was dominant for the 49ers for a long time. And you really hear from other coaches talking about how they've taken stuff from Bill Walsh. Bill Belichick's talked about it. Nick Saban talked about it. Like, there's a number of coaches that have done that, and I think that speaks volumes more than even wins and losses. So I'm going to take Bill Walsh.
Yeah, Bill Walsh. I didn't even know this till recently. He got his start as offensive coordinator for the Bengals. I had no idea that they had him within their system and they let him get away because they were too damn cheap. So I just think that's hysterical. And give me Walsh.
They put the rights for they got Marvin Lewis ahead of time when he was 10.
Next up, let's see what Steve is talking about. Gibbs is the only person who has won a Super Bowl and a NASCAR Cup Series, apparently.
Very true. Joe Gibbs Racing.
That is true. All right, next up, the 3-14, Nick Saban and Jimmy Johnson.
This is easy.
I mean, it's Nick Saban. I mean, Jimmy Johnson, all due respect, had a great run with the Cowboys, but it's been a bad first round here for the Cowboys, and it continues. So I'm going Saban.
You could have talked me into Jimmy Johnson if he had done a little bit better on Survivor Nicaragua, but he didn't even make the merge. He was voted out 3rd. No on Jimmy Johnson. Yes on Saban.
All right. That's an easy one. 7-10, Chuck Noll and George Halas.
Ooh.
This might be the toughest one yet.
Yeah, this is tough. I'll start off. I'm gonna go George Halas. It's tough because Chuck Noll obviously, was presiding over one of the greatest defenses of all time. But I feel like George Halas' name means more in the history of football, and one of the winningest coaches of all time. So I think I'm gonna roll with George Halas here. Dave?
I'm going to split the difference here and make Levin the deciding vote. I'm going to take Chuck Noll. I think those defenses are historic, and I think part of what made me hesitate was that defenses back in the day had an easier time to stop offenses. There was way fewer rules in place to help the offense. But on the other side of things, there was a lot less to help the defense too. So it goes both ways. But I'm gonna take Chuck Noll here. I think that steel curtain defense is too iconic.
You're the tiebreaker, Lev. Where we going?
I'm gonna go Chuck Noll too.
All right.
I know a little bit more about the Steelers of the 70s and 80s than I do the Bears of the 30s and 40s. It's for no other reason than that. But Noll, they're both legends. But give me Noll, a little recency bias.
All right. The 215, closing it out. Vince Lombardi and Andy Reid. I mean, yeah. I think Andy Reid got a little bit exposed this year, but he still deserved to make the bracket, even as one of the lowest seeds here. But, I mean, like Dave said when we were making this bracket, the trophy's named after Lombardi. So, yeah.
I mean, are we including Andy Reid with the Hawaiian shirt and the mustache, or does that not count?
I mean, if we're not going nicknames for Lindy Ruff, then I feel like we can't do it for Andy Reid's Hawaiian shirts.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, Lev, basketball or baseball?
But it's all me, huh? Let's go baseball, and then we'll end up with basketball.
That's great because that's just going right down the list here for me. All right, next up, the 1 seed Tommy Lasorda and the 16 seed Lou Piniella. For the record, 11, a little peek behind the curtain. This was the hardest 1 seed for us to come up with because I feel like everybody was pretty level at the 1 seed. There were a few that could have been the 1 seed, but we settled on Lasorda.
I feel like he's kind of a weak 1 seed here. That's not to say I'm taking Piniella.
No, I feel like he's definitely like a Gonzaga, at least, not counting the year they lost in the final. Like, they'll get past their first round matchup, but they might get failed in the second round. You know what I mean?
Well, Lasorda actually, rest in peace now. He did a cameo for a friend of mine right after his engagement for his bachelor party.
Wow.
It was everything you'd expect from a 90-plus-year-old Tommy Lasorda. So for that alone, I'm going Tommy.
Steve is not happy that we put Andy Reid over Urban Meyer, but you know what? Take that up with me because Dave probably would have had it the other way. Either way, they're both out, Steve. So
That's true.
Take solace with that. Dave, we're going clean sweep for Lasorda.
Clean sweep, not even close. I love Piniella though.
Oh yeah, fiery. Gotta love
He's
him.
a little underseated, I think.
Maybe.
We'll see
The
what else.
9 is Bobby Cox and Joe McCarthy. Lev, we'll start with you.
How did he only win 1? Bobby Cox.
I know.
Amen.
Those rotations. I know McCarthy shares his name with that senator, the whack job there with the Red Scare.
Yeah.
But no, Bobby Cox. I'm sorry, you have that as your rotation. You get to 5 World Series, you only win 1. No, you're not an all-timer.
It's the Don Shula argument. I mean, you have so many great players that, like, yeah, you're a great coach, but I'll go McCarthy with you too. What about you, Dave?
McCarthy. I think Levin said it best. With that rotation, how do you not win? I mean, you have Glavine, you have Maddox, you have Smoltz. I mean,
and the lineups were pretty good too. A couple
Yeah.
Hall of Famers
They
there.
were yeah.
Steve's not happy. Bobby Cox easily. Steve said.
Steve.
All right.
First of all, we have to shout out again every time I see it. Steve's picture. We
A
have to
couple
shout
of-
that out.
A couple of modern giants, so to speak. The 5 seed Francona and the 12 seed Bochy.
I'll go Tito.
Yeah, I mean, I love Bruce Bochy, but I mean, I'm not even going to bother making it a tiebreaker for Dave because I know he's going to go with Francona. But I'll make it a clean sweep because I know he'll go with Francona. I do love Bochy though. I want to shout him out. He did win 3 World Series. He, the Giants weren't exactly world beaters when he joined up there. So shout out Bruce Bochy, but yeah, got to go Tito.
I agree. I don't think Bochy gets enough credit because the Giants were just like kind of assumed like the Spurs at that point. They win every other year, but Bochy was a big part of that, and I don't think he quite gets the recognition he deserves on that.
All right, the 413, Casey Stengel and Dusty Baker. All due respect to Dusty Baker, but I've never been a big fan of Dusty Baker. I've always thought he's kind of like the National League version of Buck Showalter. Like, he always goes to like really good teams, but there's a ceiling with how well they do. Except Dusty Baker made this list, and Buck Showalter is absolutely nowhere near it.
Should
Yeah,
have had Buck on this list.
I hate Buck. That was a spite thing. There's no way I was putting Buck Showalter on here. I'm gonna go Stengel though. I think Stengel's the clear pick here.
Well, they got a language named after him, Stengelese. Enough said.
Dave, clean sweep.
Stengel, yeah. I don't really love Dusty Baker as a manager, honestly.
All right, the battle of the Yankees: Joe Torre and Billy Martin. Dave, you want to kick us off?
I mean, I could be a guy that reads like the box score and be like, Billy Martin was fired 3 times. Actually, more than that, I think. But yeah, 5 times.
Well, he had 5 different stints. I think he might have resigned once. But
I think there was 4 firings, 1 resignation, and then a retirement eventually. But I'm gonna take Joe Torre just because I think that he presided over an early Yankee team in the late '90s and early 2000s that was really, really good.
I'm going to make it hard for Jake Levin. I'm going to pick Billy Martin. I do like Joe Torre, but I've always felt like he was kind of just, driving a Ferrari in New York. He's had these really good teams, and I feel like he was just kind of there for the ride. On the other hand, I feel like Billy Martin at least made it an enjoyable experience to watch the Yankees. Like, I say that like I was alive at the time, but he was just such a spitfire up there. So I'm gonna lean Billy Martin. I feel like I'm gonna lose, but Levin, you are the tiebreaker.
I've had to let go of a lot of good people over the years. Bob Lemon, Billy Martin.
That's my favorite part.
What the hell did you trade Jay Buhner for?
But no, it's Joe Torre. It's fine. Plus, I was talking baseball with Sarah's grandma once, big Yankees fan. She is, grew up in the Bronx, and she said Billy Martin was a horrible, horrible man. So
Probably
that's my tiebreaker.
That does not surprise me in the slightest. The 314, Sparky Anderson and Jim Leland.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Leland's another one of these examples of he did win a title with the Marlins back, I believe it was 97. He was the manager. But he's another guy who's had a lot of talent on his teams and done very little with it. I mean, those Tigers teams, the fact they didn't win a World Series, pretty interesting. I mean, they got the closest they got was getting swept out of the building by Pablo Sandoval.
Yeah. I'm going Sparky Anderson here, but I love Leland. It's not his fault the Marlins blew it up after they won that first one. I mean, that team just wasn't designed to contend.
That's fine about the Marlins. What's the Tigers' excuse?
Yeah, that's fair.
Dave?
I'm taking Sparky Anderson. Jim Leland to me just never did it for me.
You forget he never won with the Pirates either. He had Bonds and
I mean that Tigers team that he was the manager of was absolutely loaded, and they just got shelled.
The 7-10 matchup: Tony La Russa and Davey Johnson.
Oh man, I hate Tony La Russa.
Why don't you kick us off then?
Yeah, Tony La Russa's the worst, but Davey Johnson, he's only won 1 World Series as well. Unless maybe he was a player for the Orioles when they won in the 60s, and then he won as manager, the 86 Mets. I think keeping the 86 Mets together, actually, friend of the program, Jeff Pearlman, he has a book on them. The Bad Guys Won. And actually, that's on my to-read list. To keep a team of Darryl Strawberry and Keith Hernandez and Lenny Dykstra, I've never known how to pronounce that. And did I say Darryl Strawberry yet? You have all these head cases. To keep that team on the straight and narrow and win, that's better than La Russa falling ass backwards into Pujols in his prime and whomever else. So, yeah,
well,
give me Davey Johnson.
Steve's not going to like it, but I'm going Davey Johnson too. Like Dave said, I agree with Dave. I'm not a big La Russa guy, and I'm trying not to be like personal, but I mean, if it's a toss up with a 7-10, I'll go Davey Johnson. Dave?
I'm gonna go Johnson as well. And I think one thing too that gets overlooked, La Russa's been like a consultant for multiple teams, and those farm systems all got worse when he got there. Like, he's not a great eye for talent either, so I don't even know what his thing is.
True.
All right, last one in the baseball bracket: 2 seed Connie Mack and the 15 seed Mike Scioscia.
See you, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for coming, but yeah,
there's so much parity in these matchups. I mean, yeah, the answer is Connie Mack, but you can do a lot worse than Mike Sosha.
You
Plus,
could.
he was the catcher on Mr. Burns' softball team.
This is true. This is true. All right, moving on to the basketball region. Our last one before moving on to the next round. Our 1 seed Red Auerbach against the 16 seed Jim Boeheim. Yeah, I mean, this might be the toughest. This might be the most stacked one of them all. Maybe football, but as good as Boeheim is, I mean, you have 3 Celtics fans here. Red Auerbach's one of the greatest of all time. So yeah, I mean, let's be real here.
And I don't like Jim Boeheim.
That's
I
true.
think Jim Boeheim is one of the most overrated coaches in America.
Can't stand Boeheim. Talk about a guy who's had a lot of talent and done jack with
He
it.
only won one.
Yeah.
He
He
won
did
one
time
with a
ago.
generational talent playing for his school,
Yeah.
and the other times he's basically like a 9-seeder out of the tournament.
Hey,
Hard pass.
he did have Michael Carter Williams, right?
Yeah,
He was
Yeah,
Syracuse,
a
right?
cute guy.
He was Syracuse, right?
he was.
Yeah,
Syracuse,
him and Fab Mello.
That's
were
right.
on
Well,
that team.
rest in peace, Fat
Rest
Mel.
in peace.
And
absolutely.
who was the guy they had that got drafted in a lottery that was like 23 years old?
Oh,
he's the
Wes
4th
Johnson,
pick.
maybe?
Who?
Wesley Johnson?
Yes.
I
Yes.
think it was Johnson. Yeah.
All right, the 8-9 matchup: Dean Smith and Pat Riley. I'll make it easy. I'm going Pat Riley. I mean, I like Dean Smith. Obviously, you know, he did the whole triangle offense thing, but admittedly, pro basketball is my strong suit over college basketball. But I'm gonna go Pat Riley because I think he's just had such tremendous influence as a coach in the NBA. Yeah, I'm gonna go Pat Riley.
To be fair, I think you have your geometry wrong. I thought he was the 4 corners guy.
You are correct. He's the 4 corners guy. Phil Jackson was the triangle guy,
I
right?
feel like we'll get to him.
Yeah, we will. He's there. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, it's Riles.
Well, I was never a math guy, so don't fault me. Okay.
I'm gonna go Pat Riley as well.
All right, clean sweep. Moving on, the 5-12 matchup: Pat Summitt and Chuck Daly. Rough draw for Chuck Daly. I love Chuck Daly. One of my favorite documentaries is the Bad Boys documentary on 30 for 30. But that being said, I mean, Pat Summitt is an absolute legend, so I cannot pick against her. I'm going Summitt.
I'll go Summit. Daly, I think similar to Davey Johnson, he had a lot of egos to manage on those late in the Bad Boy Pistons. I mean, Dennis Rodman, enough said. But I think there's something to be said for a coach that keeps it together in college for that long. And unfortunately, Pat Summitt, did she pass away?
She did. She had Alzheimer's, I believe.
Right. Her career was cut a little short. It could have been more. She should still be fighting it out with Gino Ariema. So yeah, give me Pat Summitt.
Dave?
Yeah, Pat Summitt. The last few years that she was there, she kind of was an assistant almost because they're kind of transitioning her out of the program. But she was great for a long time. Her programs are very, very consistent. And like I said, I think it's really, really hard to be a consistent college coach, as you've seen with Calipari this year.
Right.
How to get a shot in a Calipari.
Nice shot there. I like that. The 4-13, Gino Ariema and Don Nelson. Levin, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, it's Gino.
Yeah. I mean, all due respect to Don Nelson, but Gino Ariema is just, I mean, UConn's a powerhouse. Even their down years, they're still like a 2 seed. Like it's absurd. So yeah, Dave.
No, not even a question, Gino.
That's what I thought. All right. 6 seed Coach K and the 11 seed Lenny Wilkins. Dave.
I like Lenny Wilkins as a coach, but it's Coach K for me. He's just built that program into an absolute monster, and he's done it with such consistency, and he's adapted. He used to be a guy who was developing 4-year guys, and now he's getting the 1-year guys, getting the transfers. So he adapts to whatever the time is, and that's the trademark of a good coach.
Yeah, I'll go with him too. Levin?
Yeah, I by no means a Duke guy, but the adaptability, Dave hit the nail on the head.
An absolutely brutal draw here. The 3-14, Phil Jackson and Jack Ramsey. So Jack Ramsey, God bless him, did a great job with the Trailblazers, but Phil Jackson, I mean, come on. Guy's got almost as many rings as hands, if I'm not as fingers, not hands, as fingers. He's got what, the 6 with the Bulls, and he has was he a 4 with the Lakers?
He got 5. He did those
5 with the Lakers. That's right.
and
So he has more fingers, more hand. You know what I mean? You know, I'm not a math guy. You know what I mean?
More
It's
rings
Phil.
than fingers.
It's Phil.
Yeah, it's Phil.
Phil.
I mean, Jack Ramsey, God bless him, but it's Phil.
Phil.
All right, the 7-10. This is a very difficult one. Greg Popovich and Tara Vanderveer. Dave, you want to kick us off?
This is tough because a lot of people are going to instantly jump to Greg Popovich, and it's fair to say that. But Tara Vanderveer's had an amazing career at Stanford. She's kind of dominated quietly there, while Pat Sum and Gino got all the credit. But that being said, I'm still going to go with Greg Popovich because what he's done is amazing. He took Tim Duncan and David Robinson and Bruce Bowen and Manu Ginobili and Robert Horry and basically Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Ginobili with a bunch of role players for 20 years and turned that into a successful dynasty that they were able to adapt to whatever system he wanted to do. And he built the system that he wanted with teamwork and less about me. And in today's NBA with contracts being so crazy and trying to get your own money, which I understand, it's really hard to do that. So I'm taking Popovich.
I'm going to go Popovich as well. I mean, Vanderveer, you can't take away from what she's done, but I feel like Popovich just kind of gets the edge for me. It's a very, very close matchup, as many 7-10s are, but 11?
Yeah, it's Pop.
All right. And the final matchup of the first round, the 2 seed John Wooden and the 15 seed Jerry Sloan. Thank you for coming, Jerry Sloan. I believe he recently passed away as well, right?
He did, yes.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Jerry Sloan. But I mean,
people forget Darren Williams actually killed him though when he resigned from the Jazz about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't mean to speak ill of the dead. No, Sloan, great career there, but
I mean, it's Wooden, man. Wooden's gonna make a deep run here. Dave, I don't even think I have to ask you.
No, I mean Jerry Sloan didn't even win a title, so
this is fair. This is fair. Another guy who had a lot of talent. I mean, yes, he ran into Jordan a few times, but still, a lot of talent.
Stockton and Malone, best pick and roll duo ever. So,
all right, fellas, I'm going to be reading you the matchups now. All right, back to hockey. Round of 32. The 1 seed Herb Brooks against the 9 seed Jack Parker.
Herb Brooks.
Yeah, it's not even a contest.
You may as well just write him in continuously.
The 5 seed Scotty Bowman and the 13 seed Ken Hitchcock. Does the Cinderella run continue, or does Scotty Bowman win?
No way.
Bowman.
Scotty
God. Yeah, the second round matchup easier than the first. Which happens, I guess.
All right, the next matchup, 6 seed Robbie Vitork against the 3 seed Jack Adams.
I love Robbie. Yeah, it's Jack Adams.
Right. We're just chalking it this round. I love it. All right, and the 7 seed Pat Burns and the 2 seed Joel Quenneville. I'm going Quenneville.
It's still Quenneville.
Wow, for a sport we know nothing about, well, 2 of us, we got through that one. We split. All right, back to football. 1 seed Bill Belichick and the 9 seed Bear Bryant. Thanks for coming, Bear Bryant, but there's absolutely no way he's winning this matchup.
Belichick.
He's not even the best Alabama coach in the bracket. I mean, there you go. All right, fellas, does the Cinderella run continue? The 5 seed Paul Brown and the 13 seed Joe Gibbs.
I'll take Joe Gibbs.
I like Joe Gibbs in this one.
I'm going Joe Gibbs too.
Yeah.
Do it. I mean, definitely not making it past the Sweet 16, but at least he's going to get a banner out of it. All right, the 6 seed Bill Walsh and the 3 seed Nick Saban. This is actually pretty hard, I think.
I'm taking Nick Saban.
I'm going Bill Walsh. The tiebreaker.
I think Nick Saban's run is just so patently unbeatable. It's incredible. Like, it's going to be another 10 years, too.
My counterpoint, I think he'd stink. I'm looking. I think Bill Walsh was so innovative in the NFL. And, you know, like you said, he's been copied by so many people. And like Steve said in the chat, his coaching tree is enormous as well. So I'm going to lean Bill Walsh. So 11, you're the tiebreaker.
It's not. I don't like Nick Saban, but 5 championships in 11 years or 12 years, whatever it is, it's just stupid what he's been able to do. I don't like it, but yeah.
You don't like it, but we'll swallow those vegetables. We'll eat them. The 7 seed Chuck Noll and the 2 seed Vince Lombardi.
Lombardi.
Yeah, Lombardi. Easy dub for me there. I mean, I wasn't on Chuck Noll anyway, so don't have to convince me. All right, boys. The 1 seed Lasorda and the 9 seed McCarthy. Were you going upset here?
Nah, I'll stick to him.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No upset.
Levin talks a big game about Lasorda, and then he's in the Sweet 16, just like that. All right, the 5 seed Francona and the 4 seed Stengel.
Stengel won how many in a row with the Yankees?
A lot.
I think it was 7.
My
6
official
or 7.
statistician over here, my producer, says a lot.
It was at least 6 in a row, and then God knows how many overall. It's Stengel.
Yeah, I gotta go Stengel.
Stengel.
Oh, the host freeze.
I think he froze.
Oh,
I don't think I even have the bracket with me. I have the names, but I have the names seated, but I don't have one with Matt.
oh,
Oh,
I just
boy.
heard him.
Oh.
This could be time to get a refill. I'm out of beer.
Yeah, you can go grab a refill. Oh,
Oh,
Going with Joe Torre. Oh boy.
You back?
Yeah, can you guys see me again?
Yeah.
I stopped recording because my Wi-Fi gave me problems.
Yeah.
All right, I'll bring us back. 3, 2. I'm going Sparky Anderson, like I just said, just reiterating it. Sparky Anderson's my guy. I didn't go Joe Torre in the first place, so yeah.
This is Sparky versus Torrey.
Yep.
Give me Torrey.
All right, Dave, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm 11 here. I'm going Joe Torre. I had him in the first round. I like Joe Torre.
Are you guys sure you're Red Sox fans?
I'm a fan. Of
Actually, no, I
success.
hate the Red Sox right now.
That's true. I'm not a big fan of them right now. All right, and the last one is 10 seed Davey Johnson and the 2 seed Connie Mack.
To manage or coach or whatever the hell you do for 50 years.
Hmm.
Come on. Yeah. Who people forget is from Worcester or right outside of Worcester. I forget. Maybe where. Yeah.
Dave?
Clean sweep.
All right, back to basketball. The 1 seed Red Auerbach and the 9 seed Pat Riley. Thanks for coming, Pat.
See you, Pat.
Get out of here.
Not even close. Not even a contest. The 5 seed. Oh, this is a tough one. The 5 seed Pat Summit and the 4 seed Gino Ariyama.
I like how they cross paths too.
I don't even think we intended on that, but yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go Pat Summit. I do love Gino, but I think what Pat's done for the game is a little more notable, and with a program that's had a little bit more of a struggle because of UConn's existence. But I'm gonna go Pat Summit. Dave?
I'm taking UConn and Gino Ariyama here. It's pretty easy. for me.
11.
I think Tennessee has had the struggles because of
That's true.
and UConn. So I'm going Gino.
All right. Gino advances. The 6 seed Coach K and the 3 seed Phil Jackson. Dave, why don't you start us off?
This is tough because I really, really do think Coach K is one of the most gifted basketball coaches we've seen in a long time. But
There's a butt coming. I knew it.
I just think Phil Jackson, like we've talked a lot about how managers and coaches have a lot of responsibility in controlling team atmosphere. And he always made sure that he got the best out of his guys, even if they were angry at someone, if they were stupid saying something or getting on someone's nerves or fighting each other. They still always were on the court and always came to play in the right moment. So I'm going to take Phil Jackson.
Jake, go ahead.
This is the hardest one we've had yet. And for as much as we have taught, and I've said this about some guys, whether it's Davey Johnson or whomever, keeping clubhouses, locker rooms together. At the end of the day, Phil has 11 rings. He coached Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal at the height of their powers. I'm going Coach K here because he's done it with mostly different groups. I know the 91-92, I think, was back-to-back. But after that, it was 01, 2010, 2015, completely different groups. Different, again, as Dave said, you had Shane Battier in 2001, and then next thing you know, it's Justice Winslow, Julio Okafor, one and done. So I'm going Coach K here.
Well, I'm honored to be the tiebreaker here. Dave, you went Phil Jackson, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm honored finally get to be the tiebreaker. It's going to be fun. This is tough because I actually particularly don't like either of these guys just because of how good they are.
Oh, hey,
I don't either.
I mean, Phil Jackson is personally, beaten the Celtics, so I'm not really great on that. And Coach K, I just feel is like so over the top out on the court. But I'm going to lean Coach K here. I think Levin's point kind of won it for me there. Just all the different people that come to the program that he has to manage, and while Phil Jackson did deal with a lot of big egos and try to manage those and keep them together, I'm still going to lean Coach K because he's a great coach and I like chaos. So yeah, 7 seed Popovich and the 2 seed Wooden.
It's Wooden.
Yeah.
Wouldn't for me, yeah.
Nothing against Popovich.
I know I bring up this comparison a lot when we do brackets, but this is pretty much the URI against Duke matchup a few years ago. Like, absolutely brutal draw in the second round. There was no chance.
Yep.
All right, Sweet 16, fellas. Am I just writing Herb Brooks in?
Yep.
Who's he up against?
Scotty Bowman.
Yeah, it is Herb Brooks, but that's a bad matchup for Scotty Bowman.
It's getting harder. It's getting harder for Herb Brooks. All right, the other matchup is the 3 seed Jack Adams and the 2 seed Joel Quenneville.
Jack Adams. Okay,
Dave?
Jack Adams.
Trophy.
All right, I'll throw Quenneville a vote, but obviously Adams wins. All right, that sets up our matchup for the final there. Football, the 1 seed Bill Belichick against the 13 seed Cinderella Joe Gibbs. You get to hang that banner, Joe, but your run ends here.
Well,
Yep.
remember when they actually played? I think it was in 07. It was 52-7 Patriots.
That's pretty much what we're doing now.
Yeah, that.
All right, the 3 seed Nick Saban and the 2 seed Vince Lombardi. Best of luck. Damn, that's hard. As much as I've talked poorly about him, I'm gonna go with Saban. I mean, he probably should have. I think Dave, did I argue for him to be the 2 seed?
Who, Lombardi?
I think I argued for Saban to be the 2 seed, right?
I think you might have, yeah.
I think so, because you were like, well, the trophy's named after him. Like, all right, well, you got me there. You do have me there. But I'm gonna go Saban. I mean, like I said, I argue for him to be the higher seed here. I think he's the Belichick of college. Like, that's what he is. I mean, as much as I love Lombardi, I just think what Saban's done is so much more difficult. It's the Coach K argument. So I'm gonna lean Nick Saban. Jake?
Dave, you go next.
I like it.
I'm gonna make it easy for you, Evan. I'm gonna take Saban as well. I just think that his success is just so patently ridiculous. And every year we talk about the success with Coach K. I mean, football players, you basically waste 1 year as a redshirt for 99% of them, other than like Trevor Lawrence. Most of the guys don't come in and play right away. They have to spend a year in the program to get up in shape and build the weight. I'm just gonna have to take Nick Saban because I just think that playing in the SEC and the constant competition that they face in recruiting, on the field, in the coaching box, there's just nothing like it. And I think his domination is just so noteworthy.
Lemon?
I was going to go Saban. I just wanted to see if Dave was going to make it interesting. Yeah, Saban's my guy, though. And I'm just going to get this out of the way now because I think the Elite Eight's going to be a bloodbath. Saban does lose a few points for choosing Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees. But, again, that's small potatoes, really, in the grand scheme of things.
All right. In baseball, the 1 seed Tommy Lasorda and the 4 seed Casey Stengel. I believe this is where Tommy Lasorda loses. I think so. Dave,
I'm thinking Stengel, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a clean sweep of the 4 seed, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
First 1 seed goes down.
That's right. I think I'm gonna go on a limb here and say the only 1 seed that's going down. The 6 seed Joe Torre and the 2 seed Connie Mack. I have not voted for Joe Torre once, so you know where I'm going. Jake?
I'm sticking with Joe Torre. For as much as I applaud Connie Mack's longevity there, like I said, 50 years, the couple championships he did win, there were only 16 teams in the league. Torre won all of his or most of his with anywhere, I guess, between 28 and 30.
Sounds like you're making excuses.
I'm sticking with Torre.
David, the tiebreaker.
I'm gonna go with Torrey. I think just if you have to give a nod, I think you give the nod to the people more recent because I think there's more competition in all the leagues now. There's more teams, more players to draw from, harder to make deals, harder to get people to stay. Everyone doesn't stay with the same team anymore. So I think you have to go with Torrey.
I got a question for you guys. When do your Aaron Judge jerseys come in the mail?
I'm actually waiting on that one. I'm trying on my Jeter one first. So.
Dave, I bought you a Brett Gardner jersey. Hope you wear it.
Oh, God.
I bought
all the
I bought
players.
Sarah's grandma an Aaron Judge shirt for Christmas a few years back.
Wow, that's. We'll diverge for a second. If you guys if you had to wear one really niche Yankees jersey for a year, who would you pick? My answer, right? I know immediately. Miguel Cairo, no doubt. Miguel Cairo is my pick.
See, I always liked Rivera. I know he's not a niche guy. I always genuinely liked Rivera. Apparently, he's a Trump guy, and that kind of sucks. But I did like Mariano Rivera when he played. But if we're talking niche, how about Bernie Williams? And he's not really niche either.
I'll take Scott Proctor because I feel bad.
Ooh,
that
that's
Joe Torre
super
more about.
Jake, you want to go Tanyan Sturts?
Oh my God, Pride of Worcester, sure.
Joe Torre just burned out Scott Proctor. He threw him like 85 games a year.
That's a good
one. All right, next up in basketball, the 1 seed Red Auerbach and the 4 seed Gino Auriemma.
Red.
Red.
Yeah, I mean it's red. Gino definitely deserves, a shout out. I mean, he's one of the greatest coaches of all time, definitely in his sport. But red is red. So yeah. The 6 seed Coach K and the 2 seed John Wooden. Finally, a matchup of college basketball coaches. That being said, even though I went Coach K last time, I have to go John Wooden. I mean, John Wooden is just – there's a reason he's a 2 seed, man. And 2 against 6, you're going to usually get that win. So I'm going with Wooden.
Wooden.
I'll go Wooden. I thought about Coach K. Wouldn't have mattered anyways, but yeah, I'll stick Wooden.
All right. Moving back to hockey. The 1 seed Herb Brooks and the 3 seed Jack Adams in the Elite Eight.
This is easier, Herb.
Herb.
Herb Brooks, congratulations. Your Final Four berth. He swept every person he faced. Methinks it'll be a little bit harder for him the next time. All right. Football, our matchup in the Elite Eight, the regional final. The 1 seed Belichick and the 3 seed Saban. I mean,
Bill.
Padawan Jedi. Like, that's the way I read this.
Bill.
Yeah. I mean, come on. All right. Belichick, let me write that in the bracket here. Back to baseball. All right, you couple of Tory lovers. The 4 seed Casey Stengel and the 6 seed Joe Torre. Let me make this one easy for you guys. I voted against him 3 times, so I'm voting against him again. I'm going Casey Stengel.
Dave, you go.
Oh, man. I'm going to take Stengel, too. I just think that this is the end of Torrey's run. I think Stengel's more impressive.
Say, again, 6, 7 in a row. Don't care how many teams are in the league. You win that many in a row, you're on something.
All right, and the greatest pro basketball coach of all time against the greatest college basketball coach of all time. Red Auerbach and John Wooden.
Red.
I'm going to go red, too. 11?
Yeah, I'll go red. I was thinking about making a case for Wooden, but
Clean sweeps in every single Elite Eight matchup. All right, folks, the Final Four has arrived. Our winner of the basketball region, the 1 seed Red Auerbach, against the winner of the hockey region, Herb Brooks.
when it comes right down to it, Herb Brooks was really kind of an overrated coach. He had one.
He has swept his way to the Final Four, and now we're piling on him.
But his one hit was a greater hit than any other coach has ever had. But Red Auerbach did it over a longer period of time and many more facets.
Right.
And Herb Brooks sucked as an NHL coach. He coached the Penguins later in his career when they had Mario Lemieux. He kind of sucked. So
if we're deciding it by a number of times the guy has been played by Kurt Russell, Herb Brooks wins.
Yeah.
Literally every other metric, it's Red Auerbach, so it's red.
Yeah, red.
All right, Red Auerbach, you advance to the final. He will I don't expect this one to be as difficult. The 1 seed Bill Belichick and the 4 seed Casey Stengel. I mean, come on now. Come on.
Same number of champions. No, it's Bill.
Come on now.
Bill.
All right. Well, talk about testing our allegiances, fellas. Our final matchup. 1 seed Red Auerbach and the 1 seed Bill Belichick.
Funny how that works. 2
I
bucks.
know, right?
It's pretty crazy too, because we're talking about 2 guys that were GMs too. Like they're
Yep.
GMs of the team and coaches.
Yep.
So you have to hold both records to the light, I would say. And I think red is a little more impressive as far as the personnel decisions.
Allow me to intervene. I'm going to lean Belichick because I think Belichick, in the era that he coached in, it was much more difficult to have the success that he did. So as much as Red is an icon in Boston history, I'm going to lean Belichick and make it as fair as possible that our guest is the deciding vote in the championship.
Oh, I didn't say I was voting for red.
Oh, never mind. Are you voting for Red?
I'm actually voting for Belichick.
Okay, well, there we go.
I was trying to make the case for red.
Levin, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but your vote means nothing. But would you like to speak anyway?
Well, Red Auerbach didn't drive out who at the time was the greatest winner in professional sports history.
It's fair.
Bill Belichick did that. Just saying.
And
What?
And I think, like I said, I think there's a case to be made. Like Red Auerbach was an unbelievable talent. Like he could find talent no matter where it was, and his foresight and ability to read into the future of getting draft picks and taking Larry Bird a year or two ahead of time, and projecting Reggie Lewis and Len Bias, and like those things didn't work out, but it doesn't mean they were the wrong decisions.
And for all the time you'll hear about, the Celtics won 17 championships. How many of them were against those 5'8" centers in Milwaukee? Well, somebody had to be able to get the talent. Somebody had to bring in the Bill Russell, the Tom Heinsohn, the Bob Cousy, the JoJo White, whomever. Go up and down the list. I'm going Red over Bill. I know it doesn't matter, but yeah,
Right.
Red's my answer here.
And the people that argue with those championships are Lakers fans. Meanwhile, they're holding on to grasping Minneapolis championships as Lakers.
I can't. I mean, I know friend of the podcast, Ken B, is one of the anti-old school guys. But, I mean, dude, somebody had to play. Somebody had to win. I know what you want him to do. He played in this era for a reason. And, like, he was alive then. He played basketball. He was really good at it. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, yeah, you're not going to average 28 rebounds a game in the modern NBA, but that's not when they played. So I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're still not going to find any rational person that puts Bill Russell in the bottom 30 or like top 30 or 40. He's always going to be a top 10 player. Like, there's a reason for that. And I get that Red Auerbach did not drive Bill Russell out of town. That's actually the opposite. Bill Russell ended up kind of like coaching the team anyway. But I still have to lean Belichick. I mean, you could go either way on this one. I feel like it was always going to come down to these two. Just because baseball was kind of weak overall. It was pretty even bracket or even region. And Herb Brooks was a good 1 seed, but I feel like he didn't really stand much of a chance against Red Auerbach. So it's that I feel like this was always going to be the inevitable matchup, but I like Bill Belichick to win this one. I don't think it's that much of an issue. I mean, he is, when it comes to coaching, everybody takes issue with his GM abilities, but I don't think I've heard anybody criticize his coaching. So we're going by coaching and Bill Belichick. So.
That's true. And I think one thing too, not even tied to coaching, but people love to say how good Wilt is, but no one brings up the fact that he played against the same teams Bill Russell did. I mean, we're talking about two guys who played in the same competition, but only one guy's getting the credit. Outside of Boston, there's not a lot of people giving Bill Russell the credit that Wilt gets.
This is true. But that is it. Our final four was Belichick, Stengel, Auerbach, and Brooks. Our final was Auerbach against Belichick. And by a 2-1 victory, Bill Belichick wins our all-time coaches bracket. Now, obviously, this is just the 4 major sports. Maybe some point we'll get the yellow card guys on here. We'll do a soccer one, and they can hold me and Dave our hands as we go through.
Dude, I have no friggin' clue about any of that stuff.
But anyway, Jake, thank you for joining us for this. We appreciate it. It was a fun time. Where can the people find you?
And my apologies for the 48-hour delay here. 48 hours and 5 minutes. That was 5 minutes.
We are the most flexible podcast on planet Earth. So it doesn't matter to us.
That's our slogan.
I guess I missed the memo to put my Twitter handle as my icon on my name, huh? You can find me at Jake T11.
Nobody hits it better than Jake. No one does. Dave, where can the people find you?
At David_Albiani.
That's it. Dave has an exclusive 9-figure deal with Twitter. You can only find him there. I'm at Jacob_Morocco of the podcast, the CSL podcast on Twitter. Dave is pumping out those college basketball previews on the CSL podcast website right now. So go check those out. Jake Levin, who's your champion right now in the bracket?
I'm going to be honest here. Because URI kind of sucked this year, and not that they ever had a chance of winning, even if they were good. They pay a ton of attention to the college game this year. So I will declare a winner at some point, but I've prepared more for tonight's Sports Jeopardy than I have for the bracket.
I appreciate that. As the host, I appreciate that. Dave, I'm not going to make you reveal your winner unless you want to. Now you're posting a lot of previews to the site. I think I have 3 brackets, and I believe my winners in those are Michigan, Illinois, and Gonzaga. Dave, what do you say about those? Good picks.
I'll tell my winner's Gonzaga. I think they go undefeated.
I think you said that already. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they play Illinois. I actually think Michigan is the first 1 seed to get taken down.
Screw you.
my upset pick is LSU over Michigan because Michigan won't have their best wing player, Isaiah Livers.
Hold on, Dave. Aren't you? You're big on UC Santa Barbara, aren't you?
I am. But that's
not just because you love Psych either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I actually like UC Santa Barbara and Ohio, so it would be a 12-13 matchup in the second round.
I believe friend of the podcast Oliver Martell also likes Ohio to win their first round matchup.
I just don't trust Virginia's issue with COVID too.
But Levin, I agree with you. I have not followed this season at all. So much so that when I saw Illinois was a 1 seed, I was like, I texted Dave and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Hey, what, Luther Head out there with D Brown and who's
Darren Williams.
Augustine. Yeah,
Darren Williams.
Of course. Darren Williams is on that team. Yeah, I knew I was forgetting the best player.
That
Yeah.
was the last time they won the conference tournament with Darren Williams.
Really? Wow.
God bless. Well, thanks everybody for watching, listening. Next week is we're closing out bracket season with animated shows. We're still finalizing our guests for that one, so we'll keep you locked on that. But take it easy, stay safe out there, and we'll
Hold on. Just because I feel like I don't have enough knowledge to be a guest on this, because you guys go way down rabbit holes with these animated shows. I can't imagine. But it will be a crime against humanity if the First Family of Springfield is not the winner of that bracket.
Well, they definitely made it. Whether or not they win it will be a different story.
Yeah.
If they didn't make it, we shouldn't even bother with it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for watching, listening. And Levin just told you who the favorite is, so put your bets on The Simpsons. But we'll talk to you guys later.
20 minutes.
Let me end the broadcast. Yeah, Steve already sent the link out, so go enjoy the rest of your 20 minutes. I'll see you guys in a few.